One of the secrets of a clean home is definitely a decluttered home. And it's not quite as easy as it sounds, is it? Because in each day are many, many things. Here I am in my kitchen. I am dying to get to the paperwork decluttering project that I've got going on upstairs. I'm going to even explain to you how that inspiration started. But look at my kitchen. I really need to get the dishes out of the dishwasher and I need to get it filled so that I don't have a big mess later on in the day. And always, every decluttering project tends to start with what you've got going on in the rest of the house, because if you neglect that, it's really going to be hard to make yourself declutter another day because you're going to be thinking about the big mess that you'll have at the end of the day. So it is okay to put first things first and schedule one time block in each day for decluttering. Try not to make decluttering a bad memory.
Look at the mess I made. Dun, dun, dun. Want to know why?
I had to go to the Department of Motor Vehicle, and I was so sure I knew exactly where all my personal identification papers were. Turns out, closet door's open. Turns out I was right all along, but I couldn't find them because it's just like two file folders get too close together, and then one of them disappears, which is exactly what happened. So I end up pulling them all out, throwing them on the floor, and also realizing that I haven't decluttered my paperwork. Normally I do it before tax time, and I haven't done it yet, and I think I actually remember thinking I was going to skip it this year, but I realized there's a lot in there that I don't even need to have. So I'm going to declutter that. Kind of excited. But first, I'm going to make myself put away this laundry that I just recently folded today. So I'm going to put away the laundry. I've got a video that is uploading to the membership, and then this will go over here and we can chit chat while I take care of this mess. Also, want to let you know, I have received a lot of feedback that the preference is chit chat over music. So thank you to those who have shared that. It helps me so much to just be able to do what you like, because that's what I want. These videos are definitely for you. Well, they're for me too. I mean, they really do help me, but I'm making them to help you. All right, so put these here. And then this is here because I washed it and it's drying. So I'm just gonna kind of turn it so this side gets more air. And then I've got my husband's clothes here. I don't know why I spread them out like this. Okay. I feel like I need to reorganize again, but I think it's because I haven't really found the organization method that is right for this room. So I'm just going to keep trying until I get it right. Maybe we'll move the bed today and center it on the wall. I bet that would be something that would make a couple of you very happy. So, the house is pretty quiet. It's my husband and and Yvonne right now. Creasy's at work. Rachel's at the library. Ava's out and about. All right, I need 3 hangers for this. It's a rainy day in the neighborhood. So we're getting those April showers that bring May flowers early. This Sunday actually in Maine is Maple Syrup Sunday. To be honest, to me it's often cold and muddy. Ugh. I don't know if I shall partake or let the family go. It's so rare that I'm in the house by myself that I'm kind of thinking I might like to just stay back and have the whole house to myself. I don't know. I'll have to see. So that goes here. And then I can just put the towels away in the hallway closet. Dryer sheet. Like the dishes, putting away the laundry does take time away that I could use for my decluttering project. At the same time, I know if I leave it on the bed, when I get done decluttering, I'm going to be tired, and the last thing I'm going to want to do is clean the laundry off the bed and get it put away. And I didn't want to throw it into a basket either. Okay, now I'm getting myself a chair so that I'm not bending over the file cabinet and ending up with a sore back. All right. Here I have a basket for stuff that I'm getting rid of. Got my glasses. I have a Propel berry flavor. Yummy yum. Oh, I need to set an alarm because I have to pick my daughter up from the library. Oof, unless my husband does it, which could happen. We'll just see where he's at when it's time to go, which is in 30 minutes. So that's good. 30 minutes should be plenty. Come on, light. Oh, see when the camera catches your face, it gets lighter. Okay. So I noticed I have some empty file folders, which I should keep, but I just got to figure out how I want to do that. And then the little tags that go with them. So in the top, I was doing things that have to do with my husband and I, and then the house. And then that's going to keep flashing. Okay, maybe if I tip it up a little. What was I saying? Oh, and then the bottom was having to do with the kids. Not that I don't have any files that have to do with my kids. However, most of it is about... I'm lost. Most of it I have given them now, if not all. Okay. And then I also saw, I'll talk about it when it happens, but there's some stuff in here that would go in the basement because I have specific, I can't talk. I have a file cabinet for my husband's papers, and so I have some papers here of his that can go in the basement. So what I'm doing right now, this is some kid stuff, and I need to buy a shredder, really. I think it's time. There's a couple pictures in here because there's passport stuff in here. This is adoption paperwork, which I would like to make a copy for all of my kids. So we're going to keep that, of course. But there is stuff that was a part of us applying to adopt that I probably do not need to hold on to anymore. I've got you set way over there just for privacy's sake. Let's see. Yep. So a lot of this is stuff like we already have all this stuff, like social security card numbers, like, oh yeah, we received your application. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put stuff in there, and then I'm going to have my husband check through it too and make sure it's okay that we're getting rid of it. But this is definitely stuff that needs to be shredded, and it can't, oh yeah, this is like dossier stuff. It needs to be shredded, and it can't just be thrown out for sure. Because there's times when I can actually either shred it myself in my hot little hands, or I don't. Okay. Yeah, these are all like documents we needed in order to adopt, but obviously they're all adults now. They are thoroughly adopted. Who our interpreter was. Yeah, there's no reason to keep this. Except maybe that. So how often would you say that you go through your paperwork? I try to do it yearly, but I know it hasn't always happened. But definitely lately, I would say more often than not. Well, YouTube helps me because I think, oh, what things should people declutter that I could show them? I could show me decluttering. So let me know how often you tend to declutter. And what I mean by, do you declutter every year? Do you declutter paperwork? Or how often do you declutter your paperwork? Or do you even keep paperwork? I know a lot of people are keeping their files digitally. If you do keep your files digitally, let us know in the comments section, where do you store those? I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons as I kind of interject. And then I'll have a file, and in the middle of the file is sermon notes for my husband. So I'm going to let him go through these. I'm going to put aside his notes. I'm going to let him declutter them, and then I have made a file cabinet, a portable one in the basement that has his stuff in it. Part of me feels like you have not missed it. I don't know what this is. So I could probably get rid of it, but it's really not mine to get rid of. As much as my husband and I have a lot of tech around the house, Lord knows we have plenty of cords for all the tech, if you've ever seen our cord declutters. Anyway, we both tend to be paper people and still take notes on paper. So these I'm keeping, and I want to make a copy for each of the kids and give them a copy. So this will definitely count as their paperwork. And then I have some more empties in the bottom. I'm going to take out everything that was in the bottom to go through. So anything that wasn't already on the floor is going on the floor now. I still have the, when we had our house inspection, when we moved here, and then I have this budget planner that we have never used. So I'm going to set it aside and see if my husband thinks he might want it. I feel like if I was going to use it, I'd have used it by now. And then this is Yvonne's diploma, I want to say. Yep, so we need to give that to her. This we keep for the house. And then I've got more empties down here. It's just amazing how many empties I have. But it's because I gave the kids their stuff. And then this is an address book that I use. If I use it at all, it's at Christmas time. For like family, honestly. I have so many old, from when I sold Pampered Chef, even, 30 years ago, I have addresses. Like anything, paperwork decluttering is a process. You go layer by layer by layer. And then, let's see, more kid stuff. If you've been around, you know that I am in the process of giving each of my 7 kids any paperwork that relates to them. My girls who live in the home have one of those file folders that has the divisions in them, and I'm giving them their own paperwork to manage. Everybody is an adult now, and I am really trying to travel lighter in this world. I'm just getting to an age where it is better to plan ahead and plan for times when I can't keep track of things. Okay, so this was a file of homeschool records, which I also have in the basement. So I don't need to double this. So I'm going to go through and see what we need to keep, and that will go with the other homeschool records in the basement. Way better to have it all in one place, for sure. We used to have 8 drawers worth of paperwork in our basement, plus this 2-drawer file cabinet that I am currently decluttering. These are all just consent to homeschool forms. To all you homeschoolers out there, you know the struggle of homeschool paperwork. Some of this I can probably get rid of. I'll have to, or give to the kid, we'll divide these to the kids that it belongs to. So many things to do. It's just amazing all the things you have to do that relates to paperwork. Especially since we homeschooled. So every year there was paperwork to get permission to homeschool. I held on to all those state permissions, but I've since realized I really don't need to because they've all graduated. I can't even imagine for people where they have a house fire and they lose all of this. What do they even do? Okay, so all of these, it's all the same. All it is permission. Oh, there's some dance stuff from when the kids were in dance. That's so funny. Definitely don't need that. I've thought of different ways to store paperwork digitally, and so far I really have not been comfortable to do that. I'm so afraid that someone's going to break into my accounts or something's going to get lost or damaged, like hard drives. I might not put these in the basement. I might just divide them according to who's who. But some of these, because you write every kid's name on them, whoever you're homeschooling, I don't know. I suppose I can make copies, but that doesn't make sense. I'm going to ask my husband what he thinks I should do, but these are definitely for the basement. Because they can just contact the state of Maine at any time and see. And then this is how I have my taxes. I keep them in Goblet bags. Then you don't have to worry about wetness. And then you can just pull out whatever year you need to refer to if you need to refer to a year. I'm sure there's better ways to do it, but I just love stuffing everything from one year in a freezer bag. So 2014 would be 10 years. I don't need that. We need 7 years, which I think in the state of Maine, somebody was telling me you don't need 7, you only need like 5. I don't know, I need to look it up. But it certainly won't hurt to keep 7. So we just had 2024, so that'd be 2017 and above. Speaking of things that you need to keep, we just realized in my kids' bank accounts that the bank was charging them $10 a month if they were getting a paper statement. I'm sure the bank warned them of this and they just didn't notice, but we just came upon this and it was months. So it definitely pays to make sure you're looking over your statements to see if you're getting extra charges to have papers. And I don't even know why I'm keeping all of these empty file folders. It's ridiculous. So that is definitely one of the things I'm going to be decluttering. I'm going to donate these precious file folders. These are warranties. So I feel like if we were to sell the house, I think people would appreciate having them, which is why I kept them. So I'll go ahead and keep those just because it will be nice to be able to hand that off to whomever purchases the house. Hopefully I'll remember to do that and I won't move the warranties with me. And this is just trash. Yep. Receipts that we do not need. No importa. If you were to store things on a hard drive, what is your secret to if the hard drive were to get damaged? And have you ever had that happen to you? Because I'm a YouTuber and I keep videos on hard drives, I have had hard drive damage and I can't get things off the hard drive by myself. I feel like I took care of a good deal of it. We're getting there, bit by bit. Of course, you need to be shredding any confidential documents, so I am going to get a shredder. In the past, I have just torn them up, but because I did such a large declutter, or it feels like one, and the type of stuff that I was decluttering and this declutter, I feel like I really need to be super diligent and shred it. I guess another way I could handle it would be to burn it in a family campfire and to roast marshmallows over it. That is definitely another thing that I could do. But, you know, you always want to know what are the regulations in your state for how long you need to keep financial records, how long you need to keep tax records. It varies from state to state. It is not the same in every state. So I like having the paper file cabinet. I might switch to digital someday if I could have it make sense, if I could have it streamlined and organized well, and not have everything all over the place. But it definitely helps that all I really need is the things for my husband and I. It's a great relief that I can pass the kids' paperwork on to them. And I might download and print just a little document that tells them what they should be keeping and what they can get rid of. All right, gotta go get my daughter. Once I got my daughter home from the library, it was time to start supper. I decided to make a homemade pizza crust to make pizza tonight, and I could not find my recipe, so I was like, that doesn't matter, I'm gonna wing it. And I put in 1 cup of warm water, I put in 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 tablespoon of honey, and then I think like a teaspoon of salt, and 1 packet of yeast. And I just let that kind of marinate. Oh, and then I usually put in some flour too. You're going to see that in just a minute. But what I wanted to share with you is I'm really trying to use down the food I have in my home before buying more. The exception is we do have these basics that the family kind of panics if we don't have any more of. For example, chicken thighs, ground beef, chicken breast, and then anything that's on sale, like a 99-cent sale, I also will purchase. So you're going to see that in a few minutes in my grocery haul. I asked my husband if he would please empty the dishwasher. I like to have the dishwasher empty before supper so that after supper, we can just load up the dishwasher and start it for the night. Even if it's not completely full, I will usually run it overnight unless it is super empty. Okay, you can see he's pushing back those white shelves. Today is Sunday, March 23rd. If we do not hang these today or tomorrow, they are going to Goodwill. I'm just going to be firm with myself, and I've had these in my basement for a long time. I keep intending to use them. I keep offering them to my daughters. Anyways, my husband was gracious enough to empty the dishwasher for me, which I really appreciated. And back to the pizza crust, I think I put like a cup of flour in with that mixture, and I whisk it around, and then I let that go ahead and rise. So oftentimes if that doesn't bubble within 10 or 15 minutes, probably the yeast isn't that great. And you don't want to add all of those things and then end up finding out your yeast is bad. So you could, proof it with just a little bit of water and see if it's bubbling. But I usually add all of those things. And since I'm using the little envelopes of yeast, and since we often will, we use yeast quite often because my husband loves to make bread. I don't really worry about my yeast going bad. It is much cheaper to buy the little bottles for the refrigerator. We had bought those packets. I don't know why. I wasn't even the one who purchased them. My husband was, so not quite sure. I've done it both ways. But when you store it in the refrigerator, you definitely want to warm it up before you use it. So you want to measure out what you're going to use and kind of sit it out and let it come to room temperature before you use it for best results. That's just what I have found. If you have found different things to be true, I would love it if you would leave it in the comments section for everyone. I never measure the flour that goes into my pizza crust. I totally go by texture. So I am adding flour, adding flour, adding flour. And when I feel like I can't add any more, then I'm done. Now, I am trying to get myself back to weight loss and achieving my health goals. I had gotten there, didn't feel like I was there, and got discouraged and fell off the wagon. It was a stressful year. Anyway, I'm trying to cut back there. So my dinner, supper, whatever you happen to call it, is to the left of me there, which is 98% lean turkey burger with some green bell pepper I put in there, and then I add Rouse tomato sauce, marinara sauce, and I have just found that I don't even miss the pasta. When I first started doing this, I probably added onion powder, salt, and pepper. When I first started doing this, I would use cauliflowered rice, but I found I really like the green bell pepper better, and I do limit my vegetable carbs. So in order to have the green bell pepper, I needed to omit the cauliflowered rice, and I really didn't miss the cauliflowered rice because I like the green bell pepper later. Now it's one of my favorite, most filling meals, and I didn't even mind the fact that I was missing out on the homemade pizza. Back to food storage, I have really been trying to have us eat down the stuff that is in my freezer. My freezer had gotten out of control. It's just, basically it's 2 buckets where you can put food. And it used to be very organized, and I kind of fell off the wagon. Then it seems that they'll want a smoothie, so they want me to get all the things that you put in a smoothie, but then they only make one smoothie, and then the rest is sitting there. I also have the rhubarb that I chopped up from last summer that I have not yet used, so I really want to get baking that. I had pork in there, like pork chops. I had some boneless pork chops, and then I had a couple bone-in pork chops, but I combined them into one recipe that you're going to see in my next video. So I kind of play Chopped with myself. If you've ever watched that cooking show Chopped from the Food Network, which you can also see on Hulu now. Oh, and we love Chopped Jr. Those kids are a riot. But anyway, what I do is, let's say it was the pork. I will take it out, thaw it out, and then I go on to Google and I'll put in pork recipes, and I'll just kind of scan through what are we in the mood for and what do we already have ingredients for in the house. And if I have to change up a recipe a little bit, no harm, no foul, and I will do that. And so that's what I've been doing lately. It's kind of fun. And, pork isn't our favorite meat. My daughters do love pork tacos. Pork tacos, for whatever reason, give me a stomach ache. So I don't make them all the time. And certainly I don't have to be the one eating them. But anyway, we had made them for quite a bit, and then people were a little sick of them. And I don't tend to use boneless pork, the boneless pork chop, because that's white meat in my pork tacos. So I will go through the recipes and what sounds good, looks good, what do we have, and then I make it. And it's been a fun way to get new recipes into the house, and the pork one was a huge hit, so that worked out really good. This making homemade pizza is also always a great hit. So I'm oiling parchment paper. I was kind of in a fight with the parchment paper. And I oftentimes will double the pizza recipe to make a thick crust. But this time I decided just do the single crust, and I keep oiling my hands so that I can just spread it out with my hands. I used to have a pizza roller, but it broke and I never did replace it. So this worked out just fine. And we even had extra pizza that people could have for lunches the next day. And everybody was loving the homemade pizza. Once I spread the dough out on the pan, I let it rise for a bit. I don't time it. I just honestly let it rise for as much time as I have. And the less time you let it rise, the thinner the crust. The more time you let it rise, the thicker the crust. And if you like a really thick crust, highly recommend just go ahead and double that crust recipe. And it comes out super bready and super yummy. While I was spreading this out, my grocery order came, and so I'll show you what I got. Here is what $136.32 buys you at my local grocery store. Let's go through it piece by piece. For what we consider our meat department, I have 2 packages of tofu, and then this was the 99-cent a pound deal of the week, a whole chicken. And as you can see, this was not a deal. So I got 2 packages of blade steaks, a package of family chicken thighs, and then here we have 2 packages of reduced fat mozzarella, 2 English cucumbers. I got some thin mini cucumbers that I like in my salads, as well as some sliced mushrooms and black olives. Then Yvonne has been dying for banana split, so we had everything in the house for it except for vanilla ice cream and whipped topping. So that's for her. We have caramel sauce, maraschino cherries, and bananas already in the house. And then 2 bags of petite green peas, as well as, I think this is 2 pounds of Brussels sprouts. And then Yvonne's been doing really well with yogurt lately, so here's 4 strawberry yogurts. And then we have this Bare Naked granola that Cree likes in her Greek yogurt, but they didn't have Greek yogurt, so I'll have to run to the store and grab some another time. 2 bell peppers, which I should have put over here with the veggies. And I said this time, I'm like, please make sure none of my produce is wrinkled or moldy or has bad spots, because all of my produce had something wrong with it last time. So I just left a note. And then this is for my daughter Crecia to take for lunch at work. And then Yvonne loves to have these around for at night when she's extra hungry and her blood pressure is low. So I actually think it's a good thing for her to get the high amount of sodium. Then we have some vegan bagels for my daughter who is gluten-free, egg-free, milk-free, gluten-free pasta, chicken broth because I opened one, so I thought I'll replace it. And I'm buying the store brand over Nature's Promise just because it's less expensive. Some mini dairy-free chocolate chips. This is our favorite rice, the jasmine, the Carolina jasmine, and then a couple of snack packets for Leo. Woozy does not like these. Here is the list of things I did not get. I did not get Ardaya dairy-free shredded cheese or ground beef or that Greek yogurt or these french fries, which I was only getting because I had a coupon to get them for free. Just to make sure I had enough supper for everyone, where I wasn't going to do 2 pizzas, which is what I often do, I decided to cut up some potatoes. So I did not peel these, obviously. I washed them up. They are the golden potatoes. I find those skins are just fine to leave on. And I cut out any little spots that were on the peel, slice them up, and then I'm just going to spray them with avocado oil, sprinkle salt, put them in a 425-degree oven. And then once they're brown and golden, they are ready to go. So I'm putting them in before I put the sauce and toppings on my pizza. Also, I have changed into my pajamas at this point. It is time to relax. Once 4 o'clock hits, I'm telling you girls, I am done. Also, I always want to make sure now to mention with the grocery order, this is not a week's worth of groceries. $136 is not a week's worth of groceries. I usually do a grocery order. I plan to do one twice a week. If I'm able to stretch us and I don't need to do twice a week, I will do that. But already, because of the things that we were missing, my husband went to the grocery store since then, and he took Yvonne with him. And they came home with, 4-ish packages of snack foods that I had not put on the grocery order. I'm a little bit, I don't know, I guess not quite as tolerant about buying snack foods unless it's like fruit, cut up vegetables, cheese sticks. I like to buy that sort of thing. And then I'll buy like maybe 1 or 2. Well, we'll do granola bars, that kind of thing. I might do 1 or 2 little treats. Usually if it's a downright treat like ice cream, cookies, that sort of thing, I'll do 1 a week. And when that one's gone, then we'll get another one. Part of the reason for that is sometimes that stuff doesn't get eaten. It gets stale and I end up throwing it away. And where I don't, and I used to, before my original diet plan, health journey, before I was on Optivia is what I mean, I would feel responsible to eat up anything people hadn't eaten so that it wouldn't go bad and I wouldn't waste the money on it. Well, I don't eat those things anymore, even though I have gained a significant amount of weight back. It's not from eating that sort of thing. And so it just ends up going in the trash, which I feel terrible about. So I try not to buy too many of those things at once, but hopefully everything that was purchased was something that they're going to eat. I mean, that's just being honest. But even not having said that, I will usually do a second order in the week. And I give myself permission to do that because in the long run, I spend less money than if I have to go a whole week. Because in the middle of the week, I kind of see where we're at. Did I buy enough? Was I missing something? It helps me not to overbuy if I know we only need to get through 3-ish days of the week. So I put some Parmesan cheese on that meal that I described to you for myself, and the pizza is ready, coming out of the oven, and also those potatoes are also coming out, and everybody loved it. Here is where I left off yesterday. So that is stuff that can either go in the basement or needs to go to my daughters. This is the box of papers that can be shredded, and then I have these folders to go through. This is a folder that I need to make copies and to go to 4 of my kids. Yes, if you are wondering, I 100% left all of that out when I went to bed. I think probably some of you couldn't do that. Like I know people who are like, if there's a mess, I can't sleep. It did not bother me one piece. I knew I was going to pick it up the next day, and I was perfectly content to do that. Also, I have this upstairs vacuum cleaner that I need to find a place. That's what you're seeing on the right. Ooh, I tell you, whenever you edit, you see messes in your house, and it's been a huge motivator to get my house clean, keep it clean. Also, I was listening to, what's it called? Let Them by Mel Robbins while I was doing this declutter. It really helped me to stay in the game. Yesterday, when I was talking to you while I was doing it, I had a really hard time talking and decluttering paper because I'm reading the paper and I'm trying to talk at the same time, which is way, way too much brain activity for me. So, whatever you do with your files, whether they are on a hard drive, whether they're in the cloud or on, wherever you have them stored, I think the most important thing is to have them labeled properly. When I say properly, what I mean is it needs to work for your brain. You're going to see at the end of this, I'm going to show you all the files I have left up in this file cabinet. And one of them is labeled storage box. When I see the one that's labeled storage box, I know exactly what's in it. But if anybody else was coming in, they would have to pick up that file and look in it to know what the heck I'm talking about. My husband also knows exactly what storage box means because it's stuff that we used to have in a fireproof storage box and we no longer have in a fireproof storage box. So it works for us. Having your files labeled and categorized is definitely the best way not to lose track of things. I think just like with Swedish death cleaning, recognizing that there may be a time that family members are going to go through your paperwork if something were to happen to you, it's just nice to kind of keep that in the back of your head when you're organizing. Or obviously, I could do better with storage box. I might need to rethink that if I'm thinking about one of my kids having to actually go through our paperwork. But at the same time, having it work for your brain, having it respectful to the fact that somebody else might have to go through that, not keeping paperwork that you don't need is so important. And there's stuff you're keeping today that is important, but you're not going to need it tomorrow. So scheduling out times of the year when you go through it, for me, it works for me to do it before tax time because it is a time of the year when papers are just on my brain. I will link up at the end of this video, which is coming up quick, the playlist to other paper declutters that I have done. Oh my goodness, have we done paper declutters, people. My husband and I had all 4 years of our notes from college because we both went to Bible college. So we felt like those were almost like having a commentary or Bible reference books. And it was a very, very tough process to go through. And just having not decluttered paperwork for years and years and years and just holding on to it, it was such a big job. So this one felt like the deepest declutter, but really it was because so much had already been done that I could finally dig deep. And also the fact that the last of my kids turned 18 helped too. I have filled this entire box with stuff that can be shredded and I can get rid of it. And I'm pretty sure, did I declutter last year? I can't remember. I need to look back on the channel. This is all paperwork that can go to someone else or my husband's stuff that goes in the little filing box that I have in the basement. And the top, these are like personal papers. And it was stuff that used to be in a storage, like a storage lockbox, which is why I have it titled that way. And then retirement stuff, YouTube stuff, car papers, car insurance, home improvement, home records, warranties, adoption records that I need to photocopy, life insurance, and then in the very back is our tax returns for over the years. If you click on that playlist, I'll see you there. Remember, as always, God loves you, I love you too, and I can't wait to see you next time.